Ibrahima. Thank you. I am fine, Alhamdulillah.
Nice.
Good morning to Mr. Adi and to our wonderful viewers. I don't know whether you've been using my cliche of late.
No,
I've not been watching.
You used to say beautiful viewers, and then you
Wonderful.
changed to wonderful viewers. And so they are beautiful and wonderful, but we haven't been using that. We didn't want to steal your
Only
your,
and
your
until
My
if you
cliche.
pretend to
You
be
know.
Julde.
To be
that's
Julde.
Pardon
the
me?
time. When you pretend
When
to
I
be
pretend to be
Julde,
Julde, then sometimes I would say
you
wonderful.
use that one.
That's right.
Wonderful and beautiful viewers.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
apparently I wasn't able to convince people that I was Julde. They said, no, that's not Julde, that's Adi Darami. So
I know you must have performed
tried.
way better than Julde.
I don't think so. But no, it's always good to be here. I enjoy the program because, as Balde says at the beginning there, we discuss such a broad range of topics usually that it's a good it's a good mix of things.
Sure.
It's not just one thing or another. It's not just politics. It's not just sports. It's it's current affairs. It's history. Yesterday we had the esteemed historian Hasum Sise here talking about the latest volume 6. Is it the dictionary of Gambian, what's it, Gambian history?
History.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's getting bigger and bigger because as more and more people are sort of kind of inducted into the dictionary.
Wow.
And it's good. Now they have sportsmen, they have politicians, they have musicians, they have artists. It's a broad range. It's not just politics,
Perfect.
which is what these things tend to be. So yeah.
Well, I think Hasum's book is a good one because at some point
Well, it's not his book, by the way.
It will take you
Yes.
back to memory lane. I mean,
Dr.
that's,
Perfect is the one who's doing the book.
Dr. Perfect. Okay.
Hasum was just kind of promoting it. Yes.
At some point, you will know what happened in the past, and it's more of a Wikipedia for Gambia.
A what?
A Wikipedia for Gambia.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Well, more like a kind of encyclopedia almost of historical characters, but it's got dates, it's got events and so on. So it's a mixture of nice things. And from flicking through it after Hasum left the program, I was impressed. I definitely will be getting a copy for myself, and I will urge the management to get one also for the newsroom.
For the newsroom,
As a reference book, and
It's
definitely every library worthy of the name should have a copy.
Copy, absolutely, yeah. We should actually celebrate our heroes and when they are alive and also when they die. And it's important to actually write our own history. For far too long, we have all these people writing our histories for us. And most of the time, our histories are distorted. So if we are not the ones who are writing our own histories, I mean, we can't really tell if it is authentic or if it is not authentic.
I'm smiling because I spend a lot of my time arguing with people
on that.
on the internet who are writing about things like Sierra Leone independence, Sierra Leone's first coup d'etat, when Sierra Leone became a republic. All of those things, I lived through them. So I was alive, I was there. So when I see people giving a kind of, they've never been to Sierra Leone, they've just kind of grab things from various sources. It really annoys me, and I'm always attacking them and saying, no, that's not what happened. You've misjudged it. Maybe you've just read this book or that book, and that's where you form your view.
Yeah.
I lived it. So don't tell me about.
Yeah.
To the extent that our first coup d'état, I was one of those people waiting for the Governor General to come and announce that he had handed over to the opposition, when we were told to go home because the military had taken over. I was there on the spot. So it's not like nobody needs to tell me that. I'm not going to read about it in some book.
So there is no better person who can write that history more than you.
And it's not like I was, 6 years old. I was 12 at the time, and my father was one of those who was waiting to form the new government. So, I was on the spot. So things like that. So you're right. You're right. We need to write our own history. More of us need to do it, and more of us need to study our history.
Absolutely. When, as a single, as a man who doesn't know what happened in the past, you might think there are things that didn't happen in the past. There are a lot of things that happened. And there were great people who, trekked this land at some point.
And their stories have not been recorded for posterity.
I can remember there was a time we went to the cemetery at Old Joshua, and I saw a tomb, an epitaph written on it. I think 18 something.
Right.
You know, I was like, wow. I mean, 18. So 18 is it 1820 something?
Right. Right.
You know, I was like, this guy been here since 18. You understand? You know, so many people lived here, and it's important for us to go back and read their history.
Well, that's right. And you know, the old thing about, you know, leave your footprints on the sands of time. If we don't record it, it gets lost. And as Hashim was telling us yesterday, many people coming to the book will see historical figures. They're like, what? We had somebody like this in the Gambia? You know, so it's fantastic, you know, and definitely to be celebrated. Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll take a look at the African code. Then from the code, then we get into...
Yeah, let's dive into the quote. Are we giving Julde the first go this time for a change?
Oh, we missed her. So I mean, by the way, people have been sending me a lot of messages asking me, who is Julde?
Julde, tell them, who are you? I mean,
according to what I heard, you know, they've crowned her now the most beautiful young woman. Not only for QTV, but the media landscape in
well,
general.
there you are, Julde.
Oh, face of the nation!
I know where this is coming from. I mean, it was on a Sunday morning, and I see like everyone sending me pictures, screenshot of something, and I was like, okay, this is weird.
Right.
You know, why is everyone sending me screenshot of something? So I decided to open, and wow, there I was on What's on Gambia. Yeah, but I must say it was really interesting, especially the comment section, where I hear a lot of people say different things, and I was
lots of it positive, I hope.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Not for Julde. It will always be positive.
I'm glad.
Most of it was really positive.
Excellent.
But I got people who are like claiming to be my ex, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. You know, and I went to the profile. I was like, I don't even know this person. I've never seen this person. How is this possible?
Maybe they were crossing on you in their dreams.
Maybe. But it was interesting, But yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, Julde is this from a humble background, Fulani, a Gambian, So a Muslim.
Very modest.
So there's nothing special or extraordinary about
sometimes
Julde.
when you keep it simple, I mean, it pays the price. I mean, I think I like simplicity. Make it simple. I mean, it saves you from a lot of stress.
It really does. It really does. Keep it simple. Stay humble. No matter where or how high you rise, always think that you can rise higher, or that there's somebody who's higher, and never think this is it. I've arrived. That's the dangerous thing to think and to become. Otherwise, you get lazy and you stop learning. And the day you stop learning, you might as well just curl up and die. You should be learning right up till the last moment.
Absolutely.
So
there's always something new to learn.
Yeah, exactly. And there were a lot of few comments saying that, okay, it was Beauty Plus, it was the makeup. Let me remove the makeup and see the other side of it. But here I am without a makeup. In fact, I am not a fan of makeup.
Right.
It's not makeup, it's real Julde. So be reminded, this program is sponsored by Q Money.
Q Money.
You know, Sunyu Kalpe. I mean, the only reliable mobile wallet in the Gambia. You want to send money to your family and friends, to Senegal, via Orange Money?
We are all the way in Senegal now.
Absolutely. Q Money is the most reliable.
Yeah.
And you want to buy Q Power, my friend? Brighten your house with the Q Money, Q Power. Absolutely. And of course, not only that, you want to send credit to loved ones and family, you want to buy for yourself, Q Money. B-Link, I mean, link your Q Money wallet with your bank.
Your utility bills.
You know. So Q Money is the sponsor of this program. Wherever you are, if you are not activated on Q Money, please go to the nearest customer care center or Q Money agents. They will help you activate. You can keep your money, you know, in your wallet. And one thing about Q Money, it's very reliable and secure.
Secure.
That I
Security is what people care about most.
The most important. Money. Don't worry about a lot of mobile wallets shouting all the time, you know. But security is key. If you put your money in any mobile wallet and it disappears at the end of the time, it's your own fault. But Q Money, no. When your money disappears, come here. We will deal with it.
Or if it disappears, it's because you've spent it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Go ahead.
So for more information on Q Money, you know, services, I mean, the wallet itself, you can call 133.
There you are. So are we going to get the African quote?
Yes.
Or was that it?
Was that African?
No, that's not the African.
Well, you know, you said African quote and then you went into
just doing
Q.
justice to Q Money.
Q Money.
Money,
I know,
yeah.
I know.
So the African quote
proud
reads,
sponsors.
happiness is not perfected until
It
it
is
is
shared.
shared.
Yeah. Wow.
You cannot just be happy at your corner and leave me. I mean,
It
we need
should
to
be
be
shared
sharing.
for it to be
Yes.
genuine.
Sharing and caring.
For it should be lasting.
That's
Yeah.
a difficult one. If I run a race and I win a gold medal, the joy I feel at having conquered the people who are gasping and that, I don't know. Or when I score a goal, you know, and I win the World Cup, you know, I jump 20 feet into the air. I don't know. I mean, there are times when that applies, you know, the quote there about sharing happiness. I get where they're coming from. But there are times when the happiness is individual.
You cannot share it.
It's you can't. It's something you've done, something you've achieved.
True,
Maybe
true.
you stayed up many nights to study, and then you got a degree and you got a first in your degree, or you got a distinction. I beg your pardon. You know, that's your individual joy or happiness. I'm not sure that's the kind of thing that you can share. Somebody might say, yeah, congratulations, but the buzz that you sweated for this, yeah, I don't know whether you can share this one, but I'd like to hear what both of you have to say about that. I had promised that we would give Julde the first.
Yeah. Let Julde
go.
try and see.
But,
Okay.
I was tempted to jump in once I heard it. Sorry, yeah, Julde.
So, yeah, I tend to disagree with Mr. Ade a little bit.
Happy to hear that.
Because the reason for that is, okay, you might have achieved something, score high in your grades, you know, be successful and all of that, but you will be happier when you have a lot of people sharing the same feeling as you are. Seeing that people are genuinely happy for you, that in itself, it's another level of happiness. But if you achieve something and it's just you who feel good about yourself and the people around you are maybe feeling some type of way or otherwise, you know, at some point it makes you feel bad, and I'm like, okay, what is wrong? Did I not deserve this? You know, you tend to question yourself really. But if you have people, even if you score a goal, you see in matches where people score goals and then you see everyone coming, all the other players coming, hugging and all of that.
The crowd going wild.
Exactly. It goes well and you say, okay,
I conceded. I
yeah.
conceded that there are instances, and I gave that as an example,
Yeah.
where it's a shared joy. But I think there's also a kind of individual happiness that
joy.
cannot in any way be shared. But maybe I'm wrong, but, you know.
Yeah, but I am in for, okay, a shared happiness.
Like
I mean,
when
it's
Ibrahim
always
Balde
nice.
was beaming at the birth of his daughter.
Yes.
We congratulated him,
Absolutely.
sure.
We share
But
that
the
happiness.
happiness he felt, none of us can come close to that. You and I have been parents. We know there's a joy in becoming a parent. Trust me, I don't care how happy anybody is for you. The happiness you feel as that parent at that moment,
especially
when your child
a baby
is born,
girl. Oh my
safe
God,
and healthy. I was there when my son was born, and I can tell you that joy, you can't replicate it or duplicate it or share it.
I think what the code is saying, no matter how little it is, share the little happiness. You might take 75% of the happiness, but at least the 25% share it with people behind. Be it physical, be it emotional.
That I can relate to.
So it's a matter of sharing and caring. Absolutely. no matter how little, Mr. Ade, please
Yes.
look back. I mean, there are people there.
Yeah, of course.
You
Yeah.
understand?
Of course.
Financially, please look back.
Yes, exactly.
When God favors you, please share that little favor,
Favor,
you know,
yes.
among your people.
I mean, that little smile that you give to individuals might change their lives forever, or it might really boost. The lady I had last week on the Youth Dialogue, Adama, who is the owner of a security tracking company, vehicle tracking company. She, you know, when we started, she was really nervous at first, and she was like, "You think I can do this? I'm really nervous." And I smiled. I said, "Don't worry, you can handle this." And according to her, that really changed everything for her. So it shows the power of sharing, you know, and it has
So
the
it-
ability
Absolutely.
to actually
You know,
change.
sharing can vary from one thing to another.
Another, yeah.
I mean, you can share knowledge. You understand? Okay, I'm stuck. I can do my homework. Can you help me?
Yes.
You
Right.
know, you help me
Right.
and share with me what you have. You'll be happy at the end, and I'll be happy too.
Sure.
You understand? So happiness can, you know, be shared differently.
There's
as well.
a reggae song which from the 70s where it starts with two people talking, and one guy he's approached the singer and he's begging him a few cents to say, "I need money to go and buy food."
Wow.
And the singer says, "Well, I can't give you money for food, but let me give you some food for thought." And then he gives him some words of wisdom. So you know.
So food for thought or money for food? Which one will you take?
Well, you know. So yeah. and,
They
you
are
know,
totally different things. I mean,
he told him about
you
you
know.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so be reminded today is our 500th episode. I mean,
It
this
is.
program. Yes,
You know,
I mean,
I'm glad you've mentioned it.
Fi-
Otherwise, as I was waiting for you to tell the viewers that you know episode 500.
this is episode 500 since we
Wow.
started.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone far, you know.
500 is a lot.
500 is a lot.
It's a
So
lot.
this is the 500th episode, and thank you very much for watching all the time. And you know, we'll use the opportunity to thank all the technical, the camera crew. I mean, all the time. We are looking forward to get to 1,000 episodes.
Yes,
Yes.
indeed, and more. And you know, I think you're right. I mean, you know, these are what people see. You know, the presenters, the newspaper reviewer, but it's the people behind the scenes who
Sure.
make this tick. The people who prepare the stuff, who bring up the script on the screen when
Sure.
we call for something, we call for a video, we call for a newspaper to come up on. All of those people, they are what make it tick, you know, and yeah. So, you know, to the team, to the whole team who've been here from the start, to our colleague Geneva Sonko, who's still in China. She's got another couple of months to go. You know, big shout out to Geneva, who of course was a regular
Absolutely.
host and co-host here. Yeah, I mean, everybody has contributed to making this the success that it is, and we have to say it's a success. And I say this because of the number of people who I meet on the streets,
Sure.
who they've never ever watched the Weekend Review. They've never seen me on the Weekend Review, but they've seen me on this
On this
program.
morning, yes.
And they will say, "Oh, you're the guy from This Morning," and I'm talking about a lot of people. So a lot of people watch, and people contact me on Facebook. People contact me on WhatsApp, on X, and say, you know, "Oh, I saw you on This Morning," and so on. So people are watching, and we've had our ups and downs. We've had, you know, technical
yeah.
hitches and so on. But that's
Yeah.
part
It's
of
part
life.
of it.
We still keep
Yeah.
it going. I mean,
And-
you
and
know,
we're gonna-
consistency, it's a key. Whatever you're doing, make sure the longevity of it, you have to factor it all the time, you know. And at some point too, if you start something, you start getting obstacles, then
Yeah.
you surrender. I
Sure.
mean, I think that's demotivating.
But
yeah,
for us, that's not who we
yeah.
are.
Yeah, for us, the more it is getting tougher, we are moving.
We see
Good
we
boy.
see
know?
them as challenges rather than
Challenges, yeah.
obstacles. Even oh, this is there. Is can I get over it? Yes, yes, I can.
Sure.
You know, and
In
can
fact,
get
we
it.
love it tough. We love it
Yeah,
when it
tough,
is hard.
yeah.
We
Yeah,
love it.
bring it on.
Because that's the thing. That's the enjoyment there. When it is
Enjoyment,
tough,
yeah.
you enjoy it.
You know, and you and I know that if something is tough and you conquer it, whether it's an exam or it's a task that you are doing, the enjoyment is greater, the satisfaction is
Yeah.
greater. So of course,
Sure.
this program is no different. When we've had issues, and
Yeah.
we've managed, you know, sometimes we will phone somebody, the line will break and so on. We don't just say, "Oh, what do we do now?" No, we carry on. You know, we say, you know, "Sorry, can't go on with this one. Let's go on with this." So
It
yeah,
does,
yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. So at this point, we'll take a short break. after the break, then we'll delve into the stories. We'll be right back.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Hidandi da wawi sodude cash power e Q money wallet maong te ayobata hai hunde ida wawi sode ko yehi ha guluji chapan $30. Ko watano baby wadu dial star 323 has joka sartaji ding suboda option 3 fi Q power. Ontumasi suboda register meter number sa gaini natina number meter maong. Wadu dial star 323 has joka sartaji ding suboda option 3 fi Q power. Ontumasi suboda ko jelu falda sodude. Awawa hebude ko bura andrere free QCell airtime watu kala soruda Q power fi hebugol hen ko laabi de waynodude 133 Q money suñu kalpe. Yeah, we are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Asuri Balde. Now let's head to some of the stories on the newspapers. And I'm pretty sure we have some of them here already. And, you know, Julde, what do we have
We
there?
have the Standard. And the main headline on the Standard newspaper is President Barrow to drop civil suit against the Voice newspaper.
It says against the Voice.
Yeah.
Where do you get newspaper from?
I know it's a newspaper. in case,
Civil suit
in case
against the
people
Voice
don't know,
newspaper.
we are talking about a newspaper.
Yeah, the president had a meeting with members of the GPU, Gambia Press Union, yesterday at State House. And from that meeting, a press release was issued saying that the president had very fruitful discussions with them. That wasn't all they discussed. They also talked about some of the, we keep using the word draconian media laws that have been on our books since colonial times. Previous presidents have left them on there because they might want to use them one day. And so they're urging him that, you know, he had said he would get some of these removed. So it wasn't just about the civil suit being dropped, but that was, and, you know, it's a case where I think, if we're honest, we think, you know, myself, Mboj and Malik Carr discussed this, and we think, we said at the time that we thought sense would prevail and that the case would be dropped. And we didn't even know that this meeting had been planned at the time we had that discussion. And so, yes, I think sense has prevailed. And the president kind of admonished them and said, look, you know, I don't want to scare the press into silence, but report things accurately, do your research, and be credible in
whatever you're doing.
When you're writing stories. So,
well, I think that's
so he kind of
that's important. I mean, we hope and pray they solve this amicably. You know,
seems to have been.
Yes, to prevent you know, uncalled for issues as well. You know, as a journalist too, I think this needs to go to all the journalists. Whenever you're doing a story, make sure you get credible information.
Absolutely.
You know, otherwise you have your pen, you have your microphone, but once you voice out something that is not real, especially tarnishing people's image, at some point they also have the right to I mean,
take legal action.
To take legal action against you.
Well, we had the case where Maligan made an allegation against the minister.
No, it's the Alcamba Times.
Alcamba, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Alcamba Times, I beg your pardon. I beg their pardon. Alcamba Times. And people were saying she shouldn't have taken them to court. This wasn't a kind of ordinary. You accuse somebody of corruption, you better damn well have your facts. Otherwise, I would sue you. Anybody should. Minister or no. You don't allege that and not have the facts.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist for close to 50 years. You know, I wouldn't go with that story unless I had my facts. And I would go and I would defend it in court if I had the facts. But I wouldn't write the story just because it's a rumor. Somebody told me, this person whispered to me. You don't do that. That's not. But so, as I said, I hope they have their facts to hand. And thank you for correcting me on the newspaper.
Yeah, I mean, it's a laudable initiative. Like Valda mentioned, as journalists, I think we should really shy away from having cases like that. Okay, today President Barrow decided to actually drop this lawsuit against
that's the civil
Voice.
suit, by the way. The police brought a separate
against,
one.
Yeah, against the Voice. But what is next? We don't know. So as journalists, the fundamental principle of a journalist is ethical journalism, ethical reporting. If you know you don't have the facts, don't report about it. Wait until you do.
Don't be tempted by a juicy rumor.
The issue of sensational
journalism,
journalism, it's killing the main journalism, and I think that is really a problem. We should really work towards that. As a journalist, the only thing I have, it's my credibility. If I lose that, I would better off doing something else than journalism, because the only thing you have as a journalist is your credibility. But if the moment you lose that, that's it.
The minute
it's
the
done.
audience, your readers or your listeners, if you're on radio, or your watchers, if you're on TV, the minute they feel that you are not somebody who gives credible information, the choices are vast. They will switch off from you. And they'll switch. But not only that, you've tarnished your own reputation. So you need to come and be credible, as you rightly say, and come with facts when you have them. Nobody's saying don't write explosive stories. Hey, that's what investigative journalism is all about. But have your facts. Don't just build stuff around rumors. So
all right. So let's move on. What else do we have?
Okay, U.S. Gambian citizens vote in decisive election today.
It's hanging by a thread. The first, there's a small hamlet where people vote. 6 people voted already, and when they came out, they asked them, "Who did you vote for?" 3 of them said they voted Trump. The other 3 said they voted for Harris. So, and the media were laughing because they said that this is symptomatic of what the polls have shown so far, that they're almost neck and neck, if not neck and neck. So it's going to be very interesting. And of course, they have this weird system, the kind of electoral college. So you could have 2 or 3 million people vote for you and still lose. 2 or 3 billion more than the other person. But because they have this electoral college where it's very difficult to explain, but one day we'll get around to explaining it. Different states have a certain number of votes that if you win that state, those votes are all cast for you, and so on. And so magic. Yes. Like the electoral votes is like one state might have 13 electoral college votes, another might have 7, another state might have 6, and so on. So whoever wins that state, then those votes are cast, and so you have 500 and whatever electoral college votes, and the first person to, I think, 269 whatever is will be what the threshold. So it's a very tense one. I mean, Trump up to election day was talking at a rally for 2.5 hours. And he keeps saying it's going to be a landslide. Now, if you thought it was going to be a landslide, you don't campaign right up to election day for 2.5 hours speaking, standing on your feet speaking. Exactly. He knows it's close, but he keeps saying it's going to be a landslide.
So let's try, analyzing this. America under Trump's administration. Mr. Ade, what are you foreseeing? What are you projecting? I spoke to few people and they said to me, look, if Trump takes over US, that's it, it's done.
No, it depends. Trump is no different to any other politician. When they're campaigning, they say one thing. And I'll give you one example. They have the Affordable Care Act. They normally call it Obamacare because it came into being under President Barack Obama. So even now, everybody refers to it as Obamacare. When Trump won the previous time in 2016, when he was campaigning, he said that on day one, I will repeal Obamacare. Trump came, he left 4 years later, Obamacare was untouched. It was bluster, it was talk. So they do it, politicians, the world over. I will do this, I'll promise you the earth, the moon. He even promised in this one that when he comes, there will be peace across the world. Who the hell are you to make such a promise? Like, seriously? You know, and he claims that, you know, when he was president, there were no wars. Well, there might not have been the Russia-Ukraine war. There might not have been the Israel-Gaza war. But according to the UN, across the world, there were 45 wars going on. So it's a complete nonsense. So when people tell me, oh, when he was there was peace, it's rubbish. And only an idiot would say such a thing, because the facts simply do not support it. There might not have been the big wars that, you know, America gets involved in, but there were wars around the world. And then, you know, he's saying that they shouldn't have withdrawn from Afghanistan. But at the same time, you're saying that we shouldn't get involved in foreign wars. So what is it? So there's a lot of talk, you know. So what people say and what they do.
It's the inconsistency.
It's totally
You'll
different.
always get that with politicians. You'll always get that with politicians.
Especially
But they'll say what they'll say what they need to say to get your vote.
Sure.
And that's he's no different, and Kamala is no different. Let's make this fair. You know, all politicians are like that. You know, what they promise and what they deliver sometimes, and when they can't deliver, they'll try and find an excuse or a reason for why they can't deliver. So,
has there been an American female president before?
Nope.
Balde, the fact you need to ask that, if there had been, you would know her name.
Yes.
You would know
America
her name.
got almost.
Even if they had 1,000.
More than 20 presidents.
45
presidents.
But if there'd been a female one, the whole world would know that person's name. So, of course, the answer is no. There's never been one, of course. There hasn't been. And if she wins, of course, she will be the first. So, no, I mean...
So, under Donald Trump's, presidency, after his 4 years, during his 4 years, what are his print marks? What can we look... we can say, okay, this is done by Donald Trump. We have the Obamacare. But what can you point out and say, okay, this is Donald Trump's doing?
Donald Trump talks and talks and talks. And
he built the wall, did he?
Well,
I call him the comedian politician.
He built the wall and he said Mexico would pay for it. Well, of course,
exactly, I like that point.
Of course, you like the point, but it's nonsense. Because America paid for it.
No, I like the fact that he said, I will build the wall and they will pay for it.
And when they asked the Mexico president, he was very blunt. He said maybe Trump was drunk when he said it. He didn't even mince his words. He wasn't even diplomatic because it was rubbish. You know, so yeah, he talks and talks. He built the wall, but people are still crossing. And that has become a kind of...
Mexico and tunnels?
It's become a quite... And what's interesting about Trump is he's kind of built a lot of his campaign on the kind of anti-immigrant thing.
Yeah.
Forgetting that two of his three wives are immigrants, you know, but that's convenient. He quickly forgets that. You know, he's on his third wife now, and she's an immigrant. You know, his previous wife.
That's why I call him the comedian politician.
You know, so, you know, this...
What happened? He left is it the model? During his 4 years?
Where have you been?
The other one? I don't know. I don't follow him.
Yeah, but this is wife number 3.
It's no more
for Trump, you know. So, but yeah, I mean, to go back to kind of serious matters, they are all promising all sorts of things. He says he will bring down inflation. He says within 30 minutes he will solve the Russia-Ukraine crisis, which if you believe that, you've got to be stupid. You know, a war that's been raging. It's exploded recently, but it's not new. I mean, some years ago, Russia took over Crimea, which is in Ukraine. Nobody said a thing. I mean, Obama was president then. You know, so, yeah, you know, they can talk and talk, but it's very difficult to judge them because if you look at what his legacy is, which is what you are asking, it's difficult to say what it is other than the war, which is completely ineffectual. And he's claimed that when he was president, there were no wars. That's total nonsense. You know, so I'm not sure what his legacy is. His legacy seems to be more a kind of fantasy. I mean, yesterday they were sharing this thing on TikTok where people went around and they met Trump supporters and they said, what do you think about the fact that President Joe Biden said this, and this? And then they would blast Biden And then the person said, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. I said Biden. It was actually Trump who said that. What do you think? And then they would completely flip, where they had blasted Biden because they thought he was the one who said it. Now that it's been proved to them that it was Trump, they're trying to now kind of rail back on it. It's quite funny. I'll share it. It's hilarious, But yeah, everybody's making claims and counterclaims about what they're going to do. So I'll be observing it this evening in the company of some Americans. So it'll be interesting to see. But he could win, but so could Kamala. It is that tight, right up to the last day. And I don't recall the last time in my lifetime that an American presidency was this tight. Yeah, I really can't. And I remember most of them since I've had sense, as they say. So yeah, it's a close one. It could go either way. He could win.
Well, China hosts seminar for journalists from African countries. I mean, I'm pretty sure our own Lassana Tunkara is in the midst of.
Oh, he's there. He sent a picture from it. We're still waiting for his story that he's going to send from that event.
Be careful.
So, Mr. Tunkara, if you're watching, we're still waiting for your.
Let him not eat anything.
I saw him making a speech there. So, if we can have footage of that speech, and Jennifer Sonko will be there as well. So, but I would want Tunkara to do the story, I think. Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Ade.
Yeah.
That's it.
What? Already?
Already.
A couple of newspaper stories and you're telling me it's over?
We've already consumed most of the time.
I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. But yeah, I'm looking forward today to the American elections, see what transpires. I think the whole world is watching.
Who's your candidate?
Kamala Harris.
Why?
Trump,
if I may ask, why?
Trump as I've always, no matter who they put against Trump, I would be against Trump. So let me put it like that.
Trump.
Really, yeah. And I've always tended in my lifetime to support candidates from the Democratic Party. Yeah, really. So yeah.
For me, honestly, I want America to get the first female president now. I mean,
for me, I just want America or any country to get a good president. Really, that's what we should be wishing for. I think just the fact that she's female shouldn't be.
And the fact that
we've
seen Trump's administration, previously. So why not we give Kamala a try? Maybe she can deliver better.
You're talking about the biggest economy in the world. But one thing that I should say before I go, the New York Times did a graphic, and they showed 26 people from Trump's previous administration. Only 12 of them have said they would vote for him this time. These were his own cabinet. From his own cabinet out of 26.
Then it would be insane
Only
for anyone to vote for him.
12 said they would vote for him this time. Now, if that doesn't ring some kind of bell with Americans, that these are people he handpicked who served with him, they're going to vote against him this time, including his vice president. I don't think you can have a worse criticism than that. Your own vice president, Pence, he said he's not going to vote for him. His own vice president. I don't think I need to say anymore.
No, absolutely.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Ade, for joining us on the newspaper review. We appreciate you giving us your time.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah. So at this point, we'll take a short break. After the break, the program continues. Reminder: this program is sponsored by Q Money. The most reliable mobile wallet in the Gambia. So for more information about Q Money, you can call the Q Money customer care on 133. Send money to Senegal, and of course, receive money via Q Money. Of course, you can also buy Q Power, buy credit, and a lot more. What more are you looking for when it comes to mobile wallet? Q Money, it's Sunyu Kalpe. So we'll be right back.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
hidandi da wawi sodude cash power e Q Money wallet maong te a yobata hay hunde ida wawi sode ko yehi ha guluji $30 ko watano webi wadu dial star 323 has joka sartaji ding suboda option 3 fi Q power on tumasi suboda register meter number sa gaini natina number meter maong wadu dial star 323 has joka sartaji ding suboda option 3 fi Q power on tumasi suboda ko jelu falda sodude awawa hebude ko bura andrere free QCell airtime watu kala soduda Q power fi hebugol hen ko laabi da waynodude 133 Q Money suñu kalpe.
Introducing the all-new Q Mobile. Rediscover the essence of mobile communication with a device that brings you back to basics: quality, simplicity, and reliability. The Q Mobile is designed to fit seamlessly into your life, offering essential features without the fuss. 72-hour battery life, keeping you connected longer. Listen to news, prayers, or your favorite shows with the FM radio on Q Phone. A built-in torchlight, always ready when you need it, memory card slot for expandable storage, and dual SIM capability for flexibility and convenience. Why wait? Step into any of our care centers today and get your hands on the most affordable phone for just $600. Plus, enjoy a bonus package of 300 minutes talk time and 300 SMS spread over 3 months. Absolutely free. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Atanong, oro mobile amen keso pura andere Q mobile. Mobile on no yade jamano. Tenon kadi no webi nafitora golmo. Tenon mojogi piji bui. Battery on ko balde tati. FM radio. Lampu. Yeah, we are back, and you are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Suri Balde. Now let's move on to the third segment of this program, and we have the team from Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, and we'll be talking about the key findings on the antimicrobial, and it's important for us to deal with this. At least sometimes it's significant for us to invite people from your area, at least to come and enlighten us as to what you people are doing.
Sure.
On that note, I have Hadi Ba. Hadi, welcome to the program. And we have Dr. Abdullah Bajan. Okay, doctor, you're welcome as well. Yes, Dr. Hadi Ba and Abdullah Bajan, right? Yes, so please, I'll start with you. Can you take us through what exactly does this mean? Because some of your terms, you are the only people that understands this.
Thank you, Mr. Balde, for giving us the platform to discuss on our key research findings. When we talk about antimicrobial resistance, that means that the microorganisms like bacteria, viruses, parasite, fungus, the drug that used to treat them are no longer effective. They have developed resistance. That means that, let me use one of the commonest antimicrobial or antibiotic that most people know, which is Septrin or tetracycline, for instance. That means that they can no longer be used to treat infection that are caused by certain microorganisms.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what antimicrobial resistance is all about. So basically, our work through the Pfizer grant was to look at these microorganisms, and also to look at the antibiotics that can be used to treat some of this infection caused by the microorganisms. And not only that, but also to raise awareness on how to avoid antimicrobial resistance by, telling people not to be buying over-the-counter antibiotics without prescription, and also not to be overusing antibiotics, because even in animal husbandry, they use antibiotics to treat these animals. And also in agriculture also they do use antibiotics. So these are all ways and means that antimicrobial resistance can occur. So we raise awareness among people, the patients, the escorts of the patients, and even the healthcare providers on how to use antibiotics or antimicrobial in general effectively and appropriately. So we'll talk more on what our key findings were.
Okay.
So, but before we go into the key findings, Doctor, what are the primary concerns you have with the usage of antimicrobial?
Okay, thank you very much. Considering that the Gambia is relatively a poor country, and if you look at globally the way antimicrobials are being developed, it's actually not the same as other pharmaceuticals. So, for example, anti-diabetic medication, anti-hypertensive medication, every 2 or 3 years, there's something new in the market. That is, of course, because these corporations are basically based in rich countries. So, and they are for-profit companies, so they tend to serve their I would say, the population they are based in. Unfortunately, in Africa, we don't have a lot of those companies there. So the amount of antibiotics that are coming to the market are actually quite limited. And for a country like the Gambia, which is so poor, it means that we need to salvage and cherish the few antibiotics that we have. If you look at it, the WHO has identified that we may lose up to 50 million lives by 2050 if we don't get a handle on this. And the burden is going to be mostly in us, the poor countries. So for the Gambia, we are in the similar situation. We can, even some of the antibiotics that are now available, we can afford in this country, even if it's something that could be bought. Like, for example, the carbapenems, which are some of the highest or the strongest antibiotics on the market. It could take tens of thousands of dollars if someone is supposed to have a full week course of those antibiotics. So that is the challenge that we have in the country.
So in that case, now that you outlined some of the challenges that are there with the usage of antimicrobial usage, how do you then go about educating your staff and your team about how to actually use this?
Okay, so as part of this project, what we've done is we've organized trainings and seminars, and we've also developed guidelines. In fact, that is one important endpoint of this project that we are carrying out. We developed what we call antimicrobial stewardship guidelines. And those stewardship guidelines were based on the results of the studies that we had. So it was a hospital setting that the study was done in, and the result that we got gave us a good idea of what works and what does not work in the hospital for the patients that we see. So we use that information now to develop guidelines for the different diseases that were studied. So for example, pneumonias, skin infections, and the rest. We are able to say that, okay, if a patient comes and of course we are talking about empirical therapy, that is therapy before you have actually done any tests. You can say that, okay, for patients who come with this kind of infection, these antibiotics can work until you get a result for a test that shows that this is the organism causing the issue. The other thing, like I said, we've done seminars, and in those seminars and trainings, we've discussed the issue of antimicrobial stewardship at a hospital level. What are the safeguards? What are the expectations for prescribers, non-prescribers when it comes to dispensing antibiotic and using it for themselves, for their patients, and also
for others in the community.
Doctor, what leads to the resistance of these drugs?
Okay. The resistance can be many factors. It could be mutation in the bacteria, gene mutation can lead to resistance, and also the people starting on antibiotics and not completing the dose. And also in the market, if we have substandard antibiotics, can also lead to resistance because maybe the dosage is not the right dosage. So these are all factors that can lead to resistance. Another thing also is when antibiotics that are meant for human consumption are also used in agriculture, in husbandry, that can also lead to resistance. So there's many factors. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of the policy framework, because most people would be concerned about, okay, are there policy tools regarding the use of antimicrobacterial or microbial in the Gambia? One might want to know whether there are policy frameworks regarding that.
Yeah, we developed the antimicrobial, the action plan. Then there's a national action plan that has already been signed, and I think very soon it will be implemented. It has already been signed, so which is really good. And also there's a therapeutic medicine therapeutic committee, and then we have the standard drug. Is it the guideline which is also available, but for institutional level, what we have done for this project, like Dr. Bajan has said, we've done the antibiotic prescription guideline for Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. So we, together with the treatment guideline, the national treatment guideline, it will help in preventing antimicrobial resistance. We also have set up an antimicrobial stewardship program. We've implemented that. That means that we have a committee that will go every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday to Thursday, to the wards and look at the drugs that the antimicrobial that the clinicians have prescribed for the patient, look at the condition. Was it necessary for the patient to be placed on this particular antibiotic or antimicrobial? If it is necessary, we make recommendation. If it is not, we make recommendation for the antimicrobial to be stopped or to be changed, and we look at the dosage, we look at the route of administration. All of this is geared towards reducing antimicrobial resistance within the teaching hospital.
So are there any barriers, that exist as far as the implementation of antimicrobial use is concerned in the Gambia?
Yes, because under WHO we're trying to encourage this One Health approach. So the One Health approach is all stakeholders should come together, work together, and make sure that antimicrobial resistance is reduced or kick out globally. And in the Gambia, we have the AMR committee. We have the National Task Force, whereby we have the veterinary people, the environment people, the agriculture people, the human side, the laboratory, all of us and clinicians, all of us come together, and we have different components of the National Task Force, where some are on surveillance, some are on other areas, research and so on. So the way we are working, I think if we continue like that, I don't see why we couldn't have a reduction in antimicrobial resistance in this country. Yeah.
But do you have another plan? Once it's kicked out totally, do you have another plan, something that we can use?
In terms of antimicrobial
exactly
resistance.
Yes, you said you want to kick it out totally. You have a team already, and you're working on seeing how to eradicate it. So what else do we have? Do we? I mean, now here there is a resistance at some point. Do we have another plan?
Yeah, the plan is to continue to enlighten people, raise awareness, and you know, tell them that if you are prescribed antimicrobial, you need to complete the dose. You don't stop. 3 days, 4 days, you start again and say, oh, you know, feeling well. You walk into a pharmacy and then just request for Septrin, for instance. And during our project, we found that most people use Septrin as prophylaxis for tiredness, and that is wrong. It's an antibiotic, and it shouldn't be used for prophylaxis for tiredness. So we need to sensitize people. We need to tell them what is applicable and what is inappropriate and what is appropriate. Yeah, definitely. So we need more community engagement, talking to people for them to understand what the abuse of antibiotics or antimicrobial could lead to. And if we are having problem with ceftriaxones and the vancomycin, the last resort antibiotics, for instance, in this country, is a big problem, and it's a huge concern. Yeah.
So in that case, Doctor, let us now move on to the key findings of the antimicrobial use in the Gambia. What are some of the findings that you came across?
Okay, so in the study we looked at different aspects. We did surveys on patient knowledge, that is for the patient and escorts on antibiotic usage. We also looked at healthcare providers' knowledge on antibiotics. We did also a microbiological laboratory surveillance to look at what the organisms are and what the resistant pattern is. So when it comes to the patient and escort knowledge, we did find that patients were aware of antibiotics. And there was some level of understanding that antibiotics are to be used for infection. But there was a big gap when it comes to what infections are actually appropriate for antibiotic usage. For example, something like common cold. A lot of people were saying that yes, with common cold you can use antibiotics, which unfortunately is a bad trend, because common cold is a viral infection, so you can't use antibiotics to treat viral infection. And by the way, most viral infections will go off on their own, so you don't need antibiotics for that. When we looked at healthcare workers, again, we did find one finding that was a bit startling, in that when we talked about antimicrobial stewardship, we saw quite a large number, I think more than 70%, were not aware of the idea itself. Although they knew what the concept was, what was involved in antimicrobial stewardship, but the whole idea, or the thing as it is called antimicrobial stewardship, they were a little bit unaware of that. And so that showed us that there was a gap there, that we need to do more on that. When we did the antimicrobial laboratory surveillance.
Sorry, before you go, what is the dangers of that then?
Yes, so the problem is that because it's a concept, it is not one thing. If people are not aware of the whole concept, they would tend to work on only one aspect of it. That is what they know of it. So maybe they may know only one part of it, they won't know the rest. And as a result, if you don't do the whole part of stewardship, then you are going to fail, because everything goes together. So with stewardship, you are looking at the prescription, you are looking at IPC, that's infection prevention and control, and a lot of other things. So you have to do everything together for you to achieve optimal results.
Then how does that impact the overall well-being of the patients? I mean, if those treating don't know, then that is a serious thing.
Yes, so it becomes a problem, like I was saying. If they are not aware of everything that has to go together, it means that you're only doing part of what you need to do for the patient. And obviously, if you do only part of what you need to do, then you are not going to get the best result for that patient.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you are aware of the antibiotic prescription guidelines, but you're not aware of IPC, you are not going to eliminate resistance, because infection, you prevent the infection first and then you treat. But if you can't prevent infection, then you are always treating. So when it comes to microorganisms, as long as they are exposed to antibiotics, you are always going to get resistant. So the part of stewardship is using less antibiotics, only as much as you need. But if you keep having a lot of infection, then unfortunately you
So this study was done only at the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital.
Yeah.
And that is a concern, because the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital is the main referral hospital in the Gambia.
Exactly.
Then that is a concern then.
Yeah. So it's something that, although has been always been there, the concept itself is something that has been pushed recently by WHO. And because it has always been there, it has not been given the attention it needed to have. It was always something that was done in the background. And for a long time, antibiotics were seen as the miracle that cures everything. And people were not really concerned about what were the things around it. And that is why we ended up in this situation.
So how quick are you going to respond to some of the findings now that you know that this is the problem? How quick are you going to respond to this to ensure that patients are safe now?
And just to add on that,
Yeah.
I mean, the communication mode, how, you know, are you going to build your communication, you know, so that people will be aware of what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in fact, on the national level, the National Task Force has been doing a lot of work. In fact, they've been going up and down the country, different hospitals and even communities.
Communities, yeah.
Yes. So in the hospital also, as part of this project, we've also, like I said, we've had some training and so these surveys we did were done at the beginning of the study to give us a baseline to know what was on the ground. Now, as part of the implementation, we went further and we did trainings on these concepts. And like we said, we've developed a guideline. We have a stewardship committee. And in the stewardship committee, every sector of the hospital is represented. So the stewardship committee not only will be responsible for the day-to-day stewardship of going and seeing what is being prescribed, but they will also be responsible for continuous education within the hospital for both the patients and the healthcare workers. But at the national level, the National Task Force also will be embarking on doing a lot more, although they've already started, but they will be doing further.
Yeah. So just to buttress on what Dr. Bajan said, we did a baseline to find out what the problem is, and then we did the interventions. So the intervention included training, raising awareness, doing a prescription guideline, setting up antimicrobial stewardship program in the hospital. So the prescription guideline will be there to guide prescribers that if the patient has pneumonia or if the patient has meningitis, this is the first line of antimicrobial that you should use. If you follow this, we will save our last resort antibiotics for the very, very complicated conditions. And for the stewardship program, all the recommendation that we've made, the clinicians, they have followed it, which is really good. So that means that they've recognized the importance of antimicrobial stewardship in the hospital. And all of us, we are working together and we are seeing positive patient outcome, which is absolutely brilliant. And that is the whole, you know, why it is important to have stewardship programs in health institutions to safeguard and the usage of antimicrobials and also to have a better patient outcome. And we are seeing that, and we are really happy with the trend.
Thank you. Time is already up, Julde. Thank you, Dr. Hadiba, for coming, and Dr. Bajan. And I hope you know, our viewers learn a lot from this, and you know, keep communicating to the people so that they can understand exactly what this means and what's going on.
Sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having
Viewers
us.
will take a short break. After the break, then we'll go for the last segment of this program. We'll be right back.
First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
Korealo neko anila kiu money wallet isa kiu power sanno katafo wulitan saba andung ita fenjola. Ibe minkela ibanna Apple download la wala ye star 323 has dial B yebula sartol noma. Follow ye register mita tombo. Fulanjao ye la mita nomba dundi. Ye star 323 has dial B yebula sartol noma. Follow iba number 3 la detela puri ye kiu power soto no. Fulanjao iba number 1 la detela katombondiri ke hapola ilafta min sanna. Amanda Wola, wati ye kodo dundi pour ka kiw pawasa, kiw sel beso la free bonus lale. Ni lafta kuma koyo moyela nyinto, kumandiro ke 133. Kiw money, sunyu kalpe.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte. Rifled in! Out.
ndax xam nga ne ak sa Q Money wallet bi mun ngaa jënda cash power te doo si fay dara mun ngaa jënda bellu tollu si fanweeri junney dalasi jëfandekool ak suñu app bi wala nga day
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte. Rifled in! Out.
We're back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Asuri Balde and I'm with Julden Jai. Now let's head to the last segment of this program.
Okay.
And we have Michael Manga Mendy with us in the studios, and we'll be talking about hygiene, health promotion and education.
Yeah.
Mr. Mendy, welcome to QTV this morning. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is mine.
Uche Manjago?
Uche
Manjago or Butakala?
Bufa now.
And now it's Bufa?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay,
yeah.
Nice. All right, it's good to have you here. And the topic that will be engaging you, it's hygiene, which is very significant. And we think it's important for us to invite you so that we can at least sensitize the general public the importance of maintaining hygiene all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mr. Manga, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. Ibrahim Balde and Jules there. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here with you this morning. And as you said, this morning we're going to talk about hygiene and hygiene promotion in general. These are conditions and practices that promote and preserve one's health. But hygiene has been seen to be with a lot of challenges, especially hygiene promotion. And it's very important that people are sensitized about it, so that we all know what we need to do to improve our health. Because one of our roles is to enable people increase control over their own health and also improve their health. And this is going to be an opportunity for people to know what are the determinants of our health, so that we know what we need to do in order to improve on these determinants. And when we talk of hygiene, you have, they are in different forms. One, the personal hygiene, of course. The personal hygiene includes the menstrual hygiene. And within it also, you have to talk about your hair hygiene, your body, your hands, and your oral, that's the mouth. And you come to another type, which is the environmental hygiene, of course, and that talks about the solid and liquid waste management, and of course excreta management. These are very key. And then you now come to food hygiene. Improper food handling leads to contamination of food, and that can even lead to conditions and to death. This is why a few days back we embarked on trainings and orientations of different segments in our society. Though it's a routine, it's routine in the Ministry of Health. We have programs that are dealing with it. We have WASH, and both in the community and in school. We also have infection control, prevention and control. That's also very key in maintaining our hygiene. But just a few days back, we targeted the adolescents and the young girls, and also the multidisciplinary facilitation teams, the MDFTs. These are field workers from different sectors. The last speaker was talking about One Health. That's inclusiveness of other stakeholders as well, because health is beyond the health sector. Sure. So everybody has a role. And the reason why we embarked on this was to sensitize and raise awareness among the adolescents and young girls in health promoting hygiene, and especially targeting the peer health educators in schools, who we also trained, so that they are engaged in hygiene promotion in their various schools. These are very key. The reason why we embarked on this is we've realized that from records, we've realized that hygiene facilities and services are a big challenge in the country, especially for the young girls. And when I say young girls, sometimes you have to look at who are most vulnerable, as I said here. When we talk of personal hygiene, of course, you include menstrual hygiene in it, which is a very key. And we engage them so that they also engage their colleagues in various schools, and also influence their colleagues also, whether at community level or in school. And we also invited, not those from the schools, all adolescents and young girls. We had a meeting, also town hall meeting. They are engaged in order to improve hygiene practice in school. Hygiene is very key, as I said. This was one of the challenges. The hygiene facilities and also services is a challenge. And when you also look at the hand washing facilities, which is where, you know, hand hygiene is very much important. And hand washing facilities is a very big challenge. After a survey, it revealed that among all the households in the country, only 31% of these households were found with hand washing facilities with soap and water.
31% of, is it the entire population?
The entire population.
31%.
They are the only ones that have a station hand wash facility.
Hand washing facilities with soap. And when we say hand washing facility, it has to be accompanied with soap and soap.
But Mr. Manga, how did you, how were you able to come up with that statistic?
Yeah, that was a survey that was conducted, and it has revealed not only on that, it has also revealed that about 73% of our household populations are at risk of fecal contamination of our own drinking water.
Contamination of the water.
Of the water based on the E. coli count. You see. So this is a problem, and that one you will not know until.
But whose responsibility is that? It's not like I want to believe.
Yes, when we say responsibility, as I said, you know, in health promotion, to promote our health, improving our health, everybody has a role. Everybody has a role to play. Even at community level, you have a role to play. The supplier of that water you're drinking has a role to play. It's difficult to point fingers to one particular segment of the society. Is it? But it's also good that these drinking sources of this drinking water have been tested and have shown this. This will help us know what do we need to do with the water that we are drinking.
So in terms of the different sources, what are the different sources that you've tested?
Yes, mostly with the fecal, the wells.
Wells.
Wells, yes, and you know, when we say fecal, that means it has to do with excreta management.
Do people still drink from the well?
Of course, maybe here you may say it's been a long time since you drank from a well, but people.
But the borehole as well.
Yes, and the boreholes as well. And when you look at this, the contamination also sometimes is not only from the source directly to contamination does not happen directly to the source. Sometimes, and this is why water starting from the source, the transportation, and even a storage level, it has to be kept hygienic.
Then what needs to be done then in that case?
This is why we keep on sensitizing, raising awareness, so that people know about it. You know, if you don't know, you will not know what to do. And what people need to do is, first of all, where we have people who are not opportune to have this pipe-borne water, and the distance between their toilets and their source of water also has to be far away. And also the water that we drink. This is why, you know, flies are good friends. And sometimes you cannot call your good friend an enemy, but sometimes they are also enemies. Even the water that we transport and keep at home, if they are not properly also managed, all these fields can be picked by this mechanical insects and then bring them to the water. You see. So these are facts that we think as and even where we have sanitary facilities, disposal of this waste is an issue. So these are key things that we need. Something can be done. Something can be done, but we have to keep talking to people so that they are reminded, and some will be made to know. And when we come to food hygiene also, you see, look, that's very important.
But with all of these things, Mr. Manga, there cannot be effective regulations, enforcement, if the policy tools are not in place, really, by the government to actually ensure that this is done. Are there any policy tools or regulations in place currently in the country as far as hygiene is concerned, be it food? I know personal hygiene, it's your own individual responsibility. You will have to take care of your personal hygiene. But in terms of food, our health facilities and other public spaces, are there any regulations in place or policies?
Of course, there are regulations guiding all this. And I think they've been implemented at an extent. You have water policy, of course, and any water that is a source that is provided has to follow the guidance from the water policy. But as I said, the contamination of this drinking water does not only happen at the source. So when it comes to water sanitation also, it's at all level, both from the source to the storage point, which is at home there. Yeah, this is why one thing that will support the policy is ourselves. Yes, we adopt to positive behavior, and sometimes it's difficult to know that you are at a risk. So this is why we will always want to come out to inform people, because the presence of E. coli in water, you don't just use your eyes to know. It has to go through a process, analytical process, and then that's where you know. And when it is known, you get to the people. And sometimes even when you talk to them, some may not believe or will not be convinced. But these are facts. And this is why we always want people to come out, because our health is in our own hands. Somebody has to do something, you also have to do something. If he does something there and you fail to do what you are supposed to do, I'm sorry, I don't think the objective will be achieved.
Thank you. We are running out of time. So now, what advice do you have for the general public watching?
Yes, I think what I want to tell the general public is to maintain hygiene, as I said, both personal, environmental, and food hygiene, promote hygienic practices at all levels. And sometimes when you look at, especially with the hand washing facilities and hand washing, sometimes people think I should only wash my hand when there is an emergence of disease, like for example the past pandemic, and even now with the mpox, which we're encouraging people to wash their hands. Wash your hand at any required time. You have critical points before the preparation of food, after the preparation of food, before eating, after the use of toilet, after washing a baby. Yes, I think they are very key. And after contacting a surface, you will never know whether that surface that you have contacted is contaminated. So hand washing, regular hand washing is very key, and regular body washing, and especially oral hygiene, the mouth. Yeah, and our environment as well, which we also try. This is why we encouraging people to discourage open defecation and the use of toilets at community level.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Manga Mendy, for coming on the program. At least I believe our viewers have learned something from this topic. Yeah, so Julde, this is all we have. But first, before we go, we need to thank everybody that contributed to the success of this program. This is episode 500 today. We are starting from the senior management of QTV, for giving us the platform and the opportunity. Then down to the camera crew. I'm sitting and looking at Faha, framing me directly, not forgetting Musa Balde, not forgetting Aliou Diallo, our director, Jibril Buhane, Francis, he is our executive producer, Bakari Sane, M. Jallo, Lamin Saho, Mamseh Ngom, Julde Njai, Jenaba Sonko, Loli M. Kamara, Babukar Sise, I mean, just to name a few. Anybody that contributed to this program, and we got to episode 500. Not forgetting myself, Ibrahim Balde.
The VJ.
The VJ, Mr. Momodu Mboj. So thank you very much. This is all we have for you. We'll be back here tomorrow again and, on another episode. Bye.